So this is how it starts, not with a press conference, not with a press release, but with heartbreak. Not a celebration, not a standing ovation, but betrayal midair. Julie Vanloo, fresh off a historic championship win with Belgium in the Eurobasket tournament, boards a plane with a heart full of joy and loyalty. She skips the victory parade, ignores the champagne, and chooses commitment. She's not coming home to party. She's coming back to her team, the Golden State Valkyries. But before the wheels even touch the tarmac in San Francisco, before she can even stretch her legs or call her family, reality slaps her across the face. She's been waived. Not in a meeting, not in a call, not even in a text. She finds out through social media. Let that sink in. A professional athlete who just helped lead her national team to glory is scrolling her phone after an 18-hour flight, only to see that her own team has dumped her. There's no dignity, no warning, no human decency. This isn't roster management. It's emotional assassination. And the league's silence? Deafening. The Valkyries didn't just make a business decision. They lit a public relations firestorm. And now Commissioner Engelbert is watching the blaze from a distance, arms folded, eyes closed. This wasn't just another player trade. This wasn't a veteran being quietly phased out. This was a player at the peak of her performance, a Eurobasket second-team selection, putting up nearly 10 points, 5 assists, and 4 rebounds per game. This was a champion, a hero in her home country. And she was treated like a number on a spreadsheet, disposable, replaceable, forgotten. And the worst part? She thought she was coming back to a family. Vanloo didn't ask for much, just a little respect, a heads up, a moment to process. But the Valkyries couldn't even wait for her to land. They couldn't let her walk back into the facility with pride. Instead, they let her touch down into heartbreak, greeted not by teammates or staff, but by a headline, a cold corporate statement. Julie Vanloo has been waived. Boom. That's it. No context. No thank you. No grace. She had sacrificed everything to make it back. Her country was celebrating in the streets. Her teammates were hoisting trophies. Belgium had pulled off one of the greatest comebacks in Eurobasket history, storming back from 12 points down in the final minutes to stun Spain. And Vanloo, she was already gone, on a plane, because loyalty meant something to her. Because she thought it meant something to her WNBA team too. But loyalty is a one-way street in this league. And Vanloo learned that the hard way. The Valkyries' decision wasn't just a slap in the face. It was a message to every player watching. No matter how hard you play, no matter what you sacrifice, you are expendable. If they could do this to her, they could do it to anyone. The backlash was immediate. Social media erupted. Fans weren't just angry, they were disgusted. WNBA supporters, already weary from a season riddled with drama, targeting, and injuries, had finally had enough. Hashtag Justice for Julie started trending within hours. Messages poured in from every corner of the basketball world. People weren't just calling for accountability. They were calling for a boycott. Even Vanloo's teammate and 2019 WNBA Finals MVP Emma Meesman spoke out. Her reaction? One word. No, that's all it took. No explanation needed. Just a gut punch of disbelief. And behind closed doors, insiders say Meesman is furious. Because this isn't just about a teammate being cut. It's about a league showing its true colors. And where was Commissioner Engelbert? Nowhere. Not a single word. No statement. No press conference. No tweet. Nothing. This isn't just negligence. It's abandonment. She's the highest paid executive in the league, hailed as the architect of the WNBA's growth. But when one of her players is blindsided mid-flight, she disappears. Silence isn't just complicity here. It's leadership failure. Let's talk about Engelbert. Since 2019, she's doubled league revenue and put the WNBA in front of more eyes than ever before. But what's the cost of all that growth if the players who fuel are treated like afterthoughts? This isn't about expansion. This is about ethics. And right now, the league's moral compass is spinning like a broken weather vane. The timing couldn't be worse. The WNBPA just opted out of their collective bargaining agreement. Contract negotiations are heating up. Players are demanding more respect, better pay, and humane treatment. And now they got their Exhibit A. Julie Vanloo is the face of everything wrong with how this league handles its people. You think future European stars aren't watching this? You think agents aren't whispering in their clients' ears, telling them to think twice before signing with the WNBA? The league just told international players loud, and clear, you're not valued, you're not protected, you're not safe. And let's not ignore the Caitlin Clark-sized elephant in the room. The WNBA owes its resurgence to her. When she plays, viewership skyrockets. When she doesn't, ratings plummet by over 50%. That's not a dip, it's a nosedive. The league's survival is being propped up by one star. So how does it look when you treat her future teammates like disposable packing peanuts? The Valkyries tried to spin it as a roster move. They cited WNBA limits. Just 12 players per team compared to 15 in the NBA. They claimed their hands were tied, but they had months to plan. They knew players would be gone for Eurobasket. They knew when the tournament was happening. And they still chose a nuclear option. Fans aren't stupid. They can smell corporate cowardice a mile away. And when Vanloo's Instagram lit up with pain, when she posted, "Just touched down in the Bay. I need time to process all of this." The message was clear. She didn't know. She wasn't warned. This wasn't a strategy. This was sabotage. And now, the Valkyries are left holding the PR grenade. Their own fans are turning on them. Season ticket holders are calling for refunds. Social media is filled with heartbreak, disbelief, and fury. And the league's silence only fuels the flames. Some say this is just the way the business works. But that excuse doesn't hold water anymore. This isn't just a business. It's a movement. It's supposed to be about empowerment, about integrity, about respect. And yet, time after time, the WNBA fumbles the ball at the 1-yard line. If this league wants to survive beyond the Caitlin Clark bubble, it needs to grow up fast. It needs to start treating players like people, not assets. It needs leadership that speaks up in moments of crisis, not one that hides behind closed doors. Vanloo may be gone from the Valkyries, but her story isn't going anywhere. She has become a symbol, a rallying cry, a reminder that respect should never be negotiable. And if the league doesn't understand that now, it will learn the hard way. The WNBA is at a tipping point, a crossroads. They can choose the path of growth with integrity, or continue down the road of exploitation and silence. The fans are watching. The players are watching. The world is watching. Julie Vanloo deserved better. And the fact that she didn't get it should haunt this league for years to come. Because every time a new player signs a contract, they'll remember this. Every time a fan buys a jersey, they'll think about this. Every time the WNBA tries to sell itself as a league built on values, they'll hear her name. If this league wants to talk about family, about loyalty, about respect, then it's time to prove it. Because no one believes the hype anymore. Not when champions are treated like cargo. Not when silence is the loudest response. So to Commissioner Engelbert, where are you? Where is your voice? Where is your leadership? The time for hiding is over. The time for statements is now. You're not just overseeing a business. You're shaping a legacy. And right now, that legacy is cracking. Fast. Because the truth is, the WNBA can't afford another silence. Not now. Not when it finally clawed its way into the national spotlight. Not when names like Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, and Aya Wilson are finally becoming household brands. The Julie Vanloo incident doesn't just risk one player's morale. It risks the entire perception of the league. And in this new media age, perception is everything. When fans turn on a league, it's not subtle. It's not quiet. It's loud, public, and unforgiving. We've already seen the social media fallout. Influencers, journalists, even former players are posting about Vanloo. They're not mincing words. They're calling it cruel, unnecessary, embarrassing, a total betrayal of everything the WNBA claims to stand for. And the most damning part? They're right, because this was never about ability. Vanloo didn't underperform. She wasn't benched for inconsistency. She was coming off a career-defining tournament at the international level. She put her body on the line for both country and club. She gave everything. And what she got in return was a headline, a cold, impersonal statement that reduced her to a footnote. And this isn't a one-off. It's a symptom, a warning flare. Because how many times has the WNBA gotten caught flat-footed in moments like this? Remember how they handled Caitlin Clark's early targeting? Remember how long it took to address the physicality, the fouls, the silence from officials? Fans were practically begging for answers, while lead brass acted like it was all under control. But it's not under control. The house is on fire, and the people in charge are arguing over who left the stove on. And meanwhile, players like Vanloo are getting burned, not because they failed, but because they cared too much, because they believed in a system that didn't believe in them back. And now, the question becomes, who's next? Because if this can happen to someone like Julie Vanloo, a decorated champion, a beloved figure, a selfless teammate, it can happen to anyone, any player at any time without warning. That's not just unstable. That's dangerous. It's the kind of environment that kills loyalty before it even has a chance to bloom. And if you think players aren't paying attention, think again. The next generation is watching the saga unfold. High school stars, college phenoms, international prodigies, they're all wondering, is this the league I want to be a part of? Is this the kind of leadership I want representing me when things go wrong? Because it's not just about one move. It's about the message behind the move. And right now, the message is clear. You can be great, you can be loyal, you can be selfless, and still get blindsided with zero notice and even less dignity. That's not a culture. That's a crisis. And while the WNBA may try to sweep this under the rug, the internet doesn't forget. Screenshots are forever. Stories like Vanloo's don't fade. They fester. They become lore. The kind of thing players bring up in contract talks, in negotiations, in locker rooms when cameras aren't rolling. You know what else lingers? Distrust. Once it's in the air, it's hard to breathe anything else. Players start to look at each other differently. Coaches start to get nervous. Front offices start to second guess. It doesn't take much for a professional sports league to lose its soul. Just one moment, one decision, one betrayal. And for many, this was that moment. Some say it's time for Engelbert to step up. Others say it's time for her to step down. Either way, what's clear is this. Leadership in the WNBA is at a breaking point. You can't keep cashing in on empowerment narratives while failing to empower your own. You can't claim to support women if you're enabling emotional sabotage behind the scenes. The truth? Fans were starting to believe. They were buying the merch, filling the seats, posting the clips. But loyalty is a two-way street. And now, that street looks like it's heading toward a dead end. We've talked about numbers, about viewership, about growth. But none of it matters if your players are miserable, blindsided, and disposable. The soul of the WNBA isn't in its profits. It's in the players. It's in the stories. It's in the trust. And right now, that trust is broken. But here's the thing about trust. It can be rebuilt. If the league wants to survive this storm, it needs to face it head on. No more silence. No more excuses. No more hiding behind business decisions like they're shields for cowardice. It's time to speak, to own the mistake, to apologize, publicly, loudly, authentically. Julie Vanloo deserves a statement. She deserves respect. She deserves transparency. Because even if you think cutting her was necessary, how you did it wasn't. And that is the issue, the disrespect, the lack of communication, the total disregard for a human being who just gave everything. So, WNBA, what now? Will you sit silently while the internet burns? Will you let another wave of outrage pass you by like the last? Or will you finally realize that players are not pawns? They're people. They're not line items. They're lives. The fans are watching. The players are waiting. The moment is here. What kind of league do you want to be? Because if you don't answer that question soon, the fans will answer it for you.